Okay, let's get started with chart of accounts list. Here, chart of accounts means it is a list of GL accounts which controls your list of GL accounts used in your company code. Here in chart of accounts, it controls main characteristics like in which language the chart of accounts should be and what should be your length of your GL accounts. Okay, let's get started with our chart of accounts. Oh, my SAP is gone. Let's get open it. Okay, each and every each and every configuration, I have given you the path. It's better go with path, at least when you are navigating to your path. You will also tend to observe what are the other things, and you have kind of a text here. You can read and understand what is this specific node is used for and this configuration used for. So you can read and understand more also if you are going with going along with the path. Okay, it's IMG financial accounting, GL accounting, master data, GL accounting. It's again in preparation. Okay, edit chart of accounts. Let's create H100. Okay, it says it's already there. Okay, I created earlier. Yeah, it's already there. Okay, if you are creating new, you just need to say I'll create something new. I may not save. Okay, something like this. And you need to mention what is the language and the length of GL account number. As we are using this for training purpose, the maximum length of the GL account will be 10. As we are using for training purpose, I will just use it as 4. Okay, here if you are using this for consolidation, then we will create then we can assign here the group chart of accounts. Okay, here we are not doing any consolidation as such, so I'll leave this field as such. And here something called status blocked. Okay, if you are not going to use this GL account, assume in future you are doing some changes in your org structure and you come up with some new chart of accounts, then you can go back to the old chart of accounts where it is obsolete and you will not going to use. In those cases, you can block this GL accounts. Okay, block this chart of accounts so that no one else can use and or can create GL accounts for this using this chart of accounts. So as we are going to use this chart of accounts, I'm not blocking this. Once you have done, you just need to save. It will try to save in the same customized request we have created. So I'm just creating this as a dummy because I already created H100, which will be our chart of accounts. Okay, now I have created chart of accounts. Now again we need to assign this to company code. Okay, similar way where we have created company and the company code, we have assigned them together. Now we have created chart of accounts and we need to assign that to company code. Okay, I'm just trying to see how I can see okay. Okay, or we'll see later. Now we will whatever the created chart of accounts, we will assign to company code. Okay, chart of accounts we have created H100. So save. Okay, we have saved the chart of accounts. Okay, now you'll see account groups. Okay, in account groups we will create the list of accounts group used in our financial statements. Okay, to start with, as we are creating GL accounts and the accounts group, to start with, make our financial structure simple. I'll just create the basic 4 account groups. Okay, here define account groups. You can see here you have account groups like fixed assets, non-current assets, current assets, share capital, and so on. Okay, if it is really, if you are configuring or if you are consulting for some company, that's how your financial account will look like, and that's how you will be end up creating so many account groups. As we are just creating for the training purpose, we will just create only the only few account groups. Okay, here chart of accounts, H100 account group, we'll just say current assets, and our length should be 4-digit. Current asset, current liability, okay, we have created set of accounts. Okay, one thing. Okay, we'll just go to set of accounts. Okay, here you have something called field status. Okay, everything is optional. Okay, these are all the fields. Okay, where at the time of GL creation, these are all the fields. We'll go again. Okay, these are all the fields where whether this field do you need to maintain any values or not. When it says optional, that means this field will display. It is up to you to decide whether do I need to maintain any specific value in this field or not. Okay, again we will see what does it field status means in a different configuration. As I just as I was just observing field status, I'm just explaining you the basic, where it says suppress, required, optional, and display. We will discuss more on the field status at a later configuration. Okay. As of now, for the field status means, you can just think field status means it controls few fields at the time of GL creation. Okay. Now, as we have created account group, we have created the account group, and we will see define retained earnings. Okay. Here, retained earnings is very, very important, as in the case of P&L account. P&L account will have a validity period of an year, where after a year it needs to either profit or loss needs to be carry forwarded. Profit or loss needs to move to balance sheet. So it's very much essential to maintain retained earnings account, where you need to transfer your profit or loss to your balance sheet during your end of financial period. And without this retained earnings account, you can't create your GL master. So it is very much necessary, and you need to have your retained earnings account. Okay, here the P&L statement, it is a single character you need to maintain. It is a maximum 2 character I think we can maintain. Okay, and I'll just say 2099, because that is our liability currently. Your retained earnings account will be part of liability. So I'll just say 2099. Okay, here you can see it is giving me a warning where okay, you can see here warning where it says the account 2099 is not not created in chart of accounts, H100. That means it is giving us a warning. So it's not a store stopper, but it is just giving us a heads up, like it's not created in this chart of accounts. So if I press enter, the warning goes off. Just save. Okay. Okay, we will save and come out. Okay, we have done with our retained earnings account. Now we will see define fiscal year variant. Okay, here fiscal year variant is nothing but what is your financial year of the company and how you want to design your system to that. Okay, here we have in fiscal year variant, we have many options. It can be calendar year, it can be any country's financial year. Okay, if you are using calendar year, you no need to do much of a configuration. Okay, as we are in a training, we will go with a little harder path where we will say our company will use April to March, and we will try to do configuration for that. Okay. We'll go out and come again. So financial accounting. Let's okay, fiscal year. Okay, maintain fiscal year. Okay, we'll see. It's H1. Our fiscal year, we are calling it as an H1, and we will say okay. Here you can see it's a calendar year. Okay, if you are using a calendar year, then you can just tick this. As ours is not calendar year, I will not use that option. And here you have something called year dependent. That means you are telling the system whatever the year I'm creating, that it will work only for that year. Suppose assume I'm creating this year dependent fiscal year for 2018. That means it will work only for 2018. If you need to use this, use it for next year, again you need to come here and do configuration for 2019 to work. Okay, that's what year dependent means. The majority of the companies will use year independent. That means once we have done the configuration, it can work perpetually without any additional maintenance. Okay, there are a few companies where they do use year dependent fiscal years. Each year they need to maintain fiscal years. Okay, here number of periods. Okay, it will be 12 because of 12 months. And here number of special periods. Special periods, it's for in financial books, whenever you are uh, closing your quarterly books, normally now all registered corporates will publish their financials quarterly. Once you are before publishing, uh, in a normal scenario, it will go with auditors need to check your books of accounts. During that period, if there is any adjustments, then we will use this special periods to post any audit objections or audit related adjustments in special periods. So we have 4 quarters, so it will be used, this 4 periods will be used for the 4 special periods used for our 4 quarter closing. Okay, we will see what next. Here we need to maintain our as we are using non-calendar year, we need to configure what is that specific month, how many days that month will have, what is the period as per SAP system. As we are using April to March, our period will be first period will start from April. Okay, and we have something called year shift. When you say year shift, the system can accept year as 4 digit only. If you are in 2018 April, both your SAP year as well as your calendar year, both are 2018. Okay, that's why we are saying year shift is 0. That means your actual fiscal year and your actual SAP year, both are 0. Both are same, that's why it is 0. Okay, from April to December, your both SAP year and your calendar year will match, so there will not be any year shift. What happens if you come to April 2019, even though you are in SAP wise you are in still 2018, but your actual year is 2019. That's where your year shift configuration will come into play. Even if you are entering in January 2019, system still need to understand this is for 2018 fiscal year. Okay, that's where your year shift will come into play. We are telling the system, even though I'm January 2019, reduce 1 year to match to system fiscal year. Okay, even though I'm in January 2019, the system will match to 2018 SAP fiscal year. Here, if you see, I have given a few example. You can read through, and there are there is some other design where you can have your year shift as +1, and here instead of -1 you can have it as 0. That means in 2000 you are in April 2018, your SAP fiscal year will maintain it as 2019. That means your actual SAP year and actual calendar year will not match in the April itself. That means your actual calendar year is 2018, but your SAP year is 2019. That means you need to tell the system it is whatever the date I will be entering, the year will be +1. That means all this will become as +1, and when you come to actual January 2019, already your system also, your SAP fiscal year also 2019, both will match 2019 and 2019. In those cases, the year shift will be 0. Okay, we will go with the same configuration whatever we have already copied here. Okay, we will copy paste this to SAP. Okay, save. Okay, here we have period text also. We will copy paste. Here we are just telling the system for what is a period 1 and what is a month for period 1 and all. Just save and go out. Okay, here you have many other fiscal year variant. One of this is, see, you can see here the calendar year is ticked. Okay, let us see what happens if I click on period. See, it says period cannot be maintained for calendar dependent fiscal years. That means system knows if it is a calendar year, it has always be January to December. I no need to maintain additionally what does January means. In January, how many number of days will be there and all. Okay, so I no need to do additional work. If it is a year dependent, if I go to period, it is asking for a specific calendar year. Okay, that means for this configuration is assigned to or used only for 2018. Okay, then if I go, then it says calendar year 2018 and I need to maintain 2018 related data. If I see, if you go to our configuration, it's not asking any year. That means it can be used for any year. Okay, even in the case of shortened fiscal year, where your company comes into operation, assume we are in April to March financial year, our company will come to operation in December. That means from December to March, it is a shortened fiscal year. Every year will be, every year will not be shortened fiscal year. So in those cases, for shortened fiscal year, we just need to maintain for which fiscal year it is. If it comes to regular, then we can use something like this, what we have configured. The shortened fiscal year will be when they are opening a organization, or when organization comes into presence for a few months of that particular financial year, or when they are closing. When they are closing before the financial year ends, in those cases we will use the shortened fiscal year. Okay. All right. Now we have created a fiscal year. Okay, now we will see again the same concept. We need to assign this fiscal year to the company code. Okay, assign it to company code. We have created H1. Okay, we have assigned this fiscal year to company code. We will stop here and we will regroup again in the next session. Thank you for joining. I'll update the recordings once it is done.